Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Best Year of Your Life Summit. I'm your co host, Lori Gambacorta, and I have the absolute pleasure of being here today with Eli Hans and Joseph Bennett. Eli and Joseph combine mindfulness, theater, and creativity to inspire thousands worldwide. Their workshops and retreats help people ignite passions, gain clarity, build lasting relationships, and live to their fullest potential. Dedicated to positive change, they work with passion, commitment, and fun. Blissfully married and working together for almost 25 years, they help individuals create lives they love. It's so nice to be here with you today, and so glad that you could take the time to help people live the best year of their life. And today we're talking specifically about financial health and abundance.
Yes, we love being here. Thanks for having us, Lori. Good to be with you.
One of my favorite subjects. Thanks for inviting us.
Well, let's start with your own journey on prosperity with the purpose. And how did that begin? And then how did that inspire you to help others in creating intentional abundance?
Well, you said prosperity on purpose. And for us, that's kind of a play on words because purpose meaning mindfully wanting to create prosperity and abundance in our lives, but it's also being in alignment with our calling. So our purpose for being here. And for me specifically, I'll speak for myself. When I got really clear about why I'm on this planet, what my purpose is, and I got onto that path, all of a sudden, everything began to shift, especially with my health, especially with abundance and prosperity. It's almost like opportunities opened up. Numbers in our savings account and our investments started climbing, and the level of joy of being of service by being, on the right track, we just went through the roof. So that was the beginning of a big shift for me. How about you?
My journey was very different because I grew up with a lot of money worries and a lot of shame and blame around money. And there was a time when I hired a coach and I realized I did not want to carry this around with me my entire life. Like it was just so heavy and so toxic, Lori, that I began working on my money story about 30 years ago. And when I realized that a lot of my clients also had these pain points and they were tossing and turning at night and they couldn't sleep and all this worry and insomnia, I realized that's when I wanted to set on a journey of helping myself and others creating prosperity on purpose. And it has been amazing.
So can you each talk a little bit about your early experiences with money, like how money was perceived in your family and how that influenced your relationship with abundance?
Yeah, that's really good to talk about that because, we tend to compartmentalize our lives, right? It's like money is over here, health is over here, relationship is over here. And the truth is that everything is part of the same expression of our life. And all of it is influenced so much by the way that we were raised. And money especially tends to reflect that. And a lot of it is under the radar. So we're not aware of it. When you're raised in a certain environment, that's just the way it is. You believe that that is the truth. And as we grow older, if we don't examine what our thoughts are about our own beliefs about money, then they end up showing up. So for me, for example, when I was a kid, my family had money, but it was always something that was argued about, especially with my dad and his side of the family. And they always fought about it in a different language, right? So they used Yiddish.
That sounds familiar.
Or something. So I learned my message was money isn't for you to understand. This isn't something that you need to deal with. It causes a lot of strife and problems. And I knew they were arguing about money because I kept hearing the word dolarim, dolarim, dolarim. So
which means dollars.
Which means dollars, yes. So the subliminal message is better stay away from money because it's going to create problems in my family or in my relationships. And I wasn't really fully aware of that until like when I got older and I graduated from college and I started to get jobs and it wasn't flowing. It wasn't showing up the way that I would have liked. So I had to really take a look at that. And for all of the viewers out there, it's so important to really kind of go back and take a look at what T. Harv Eker calls our blueprint. You know, our blueprint of our money belief system, because that is always, always playing subconsciously and it's being reflected in our life. So when we begin to examine our thoughts and be able to shift the way we think and we start telling ourselves a different story, that's when the abundance picture begins to shift.
So what was the catalyst then for you to take that first step and start to question this subconscious money story?
Well, you know, when you, as it happens to so many of us, when you hit bottom or when you just get frustrated and things aren't moving in the direction that you'd like, you start taking a look at what could be causing this. So when I became aware of, oh, there's all these underlying messages going on, and I am the only one who can change them. And the interesting thing is that of all the areas of our life, I have found that money really responds to saying yes to yourself. You know, it's like the universe says yes to you when you begin to say yes to yourself. So there's a lot of worthiness stuff we got to work through. And money also happens to love order. So oftentimes when it comes to our money, a lot of us in the past, when things aren't working well, we tend to kind of put our head in the sand and not really create order. You know, like, I don't know how much money's in my account. I hope I don't bounce a check, you know, things like that. When you actually start creating order and kind of taking the bull by the horns, then things begin to really shift because the energy of money is very highly attracted to order.
Beautiful. Wow, that's gorgeous.
You?
What question do you have for me?
The same question. So what happened early in your life to shape your subconscious beliefs around money? And then how did you come to that point where you decided I need to work on what's subconsciously my money blueprint?
Thank you. So I always tell the story that money was never talked about in my family. However, it was screamed about and it was cried about and it was worried about, but only for decades. And that continued in my life until the moment that I was living in Southern California, and a colleague of mine, I was working at a restaurant, and this woman came up to me and she knew me well, right? And I'm kind of an open book, and she knew I had a lot of money worries. And she said to me, "Do you know that I'm a life coach?" And this was back in the late 1990s, before life coaching was even really a thing. And I said, "I don't know what that is." And she said, "Well, let's have a session and I'll show you." And we worked together for a year and a half. And I distinctly remember my very first session with her. And she said, "Tell me about your money. Tell me about your money story. What was money like in your family?" And in that instant is when I started the really transformative work. I was going to say painful, but that's not the right word. Transformative work of looking at my money and looking at how it was showing up, how it wasn't showing up in my life. And that was nearly 30 years ago. And I have been on this gorgeous journey ever since. And now I support others. We support others in doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Joseph had a lot of student loans, a lot of debt that seemed insurmountable, as so many people tend to have those big numbers. And he,
lost a lot of sleep and a lot of worry.
But then he came up with a plan. And within not too long, he was
a year and a half.
A year and a half, he got rid of all of the debt. And he hasn't been in debt ever since. So it is possible. It is possible. The thing about money is that it really requires us to have good money habits. that is a really crucial part, I think. So when we talk about order, it also includes our habits around money. Not only how much is coming in, but keeping track of where is it going out. And, some people didn't say, I don't know. Money comes in and it just slips through my fingers. I don't know where it goes. Right.
Yeah.
That's so common. But it's so important to be able to set all of those containers, all those strategies in place so that you can actually feel like you are in control of what's happening in your financial life.
And I'm also inspired, Eli, to share with our audience now that sometimes when we look at strategies, when we look at order, when we look at our money, it tends to feel, until now, pretty heavy and pretty serious. And like, like we're dragging people towards their prosperity. And what we like to invite in is that there can be levity around this. There can be love around this, right? We can even laugh at some of the mistakes or some of the habits that we've had in the past, because what I fervently believe is that putting pain on top of pain, as Byron Katie teaches us, just creates a lot of harshness and a lot of toxicity in our lives. What if we were able to love everything we've done with money up until this point? What if we were able to have some levity around it, right? How might that change things?
Yeah, we've been together 25 years, and when it comes to money, a lot, we tend to play a game with it. Almost like, ooh, let's co-create with the universe. Let's treat it as a game. Let's see what happens when we fall into alignment with what we're really here to do. What happens when we start focusing on just becoming aware of income, multiple sources of income. And all of a sudden, oh my God, we tripled our income this month. Yay, it's fun. So if you have that sense of play and that sense of fun, it just lightens up and changes the entire experience.
Playing with the law of attraction. And I'm going to be completely transparent here and tell our audience that one of the things I am most proud of in my life is that this man and I have never had an argument about money in nearly 25 years.
That's
I say that not to impress anybody at all, but just to express what's possible, right? We don't have to argue. We don't have to beat ourselves up. So that's what I got.
Usually in separations and divorces, I think the number one reason cited are money arguments. And there's so many myths about money too, like having to work a job you don't like in order to get it. So I love this idea of play. And
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. If I can interject a moment, when you said a job I don't like, I mean, we all know people who absolutely detest.
And we have all been there in the past as well, right?
Working under whatever, fluorescent lighting in a situation that you're not comfortable with, surrounded by people you don't really care about. And yet we feel that we need to do that for the security of a paycheck. And that's saying no to our deepest part, our spirit, our soul that really came here to do other things. So I want to really express that a huge shift happened for both of us when we both got really clear about why we are here. And when you start getting on the path of doing what you love, things that you're good at, that the world needs, and making a great living at it. That's the sweet spot in Japanese philosophy. It's called ikigai. And ikigai doesn't mean some guy walking around with like chicken noodle soup stuck to his beard. It's, there goes an ikigai. No, it's the philosophy of that sweet spot of finding what you love, what you're good at, that the world needs, that you can make a really great living at it. We've always been in the pursuit of that. And for us, it's constantly shifting and changing depending on who we are becoming. And we have multiple sources of income. We don't have the one job that brings us a certain amount of money. I mean, we have money coming in from all kinds of directions. So I want to really inspire the audience to know that you are here for a higher purpose, that only you can bring that piece of the puzzle to this world. And when you identify what that is for yourself, I can guarantee you that things become more effortless and doors and opportunities begin to open.
And I'll just add to that, if I may, that when we are saying yes to a job that doesn't fulfill us, we're saying no to everything else. Right? If we're working there 40, 45, 50 hours a week, there's all these opportunities, all this abundance of the universe that doesn't get to tap us on the shoulder because we're busy doing that other thing over there. So we're not saying go out and quit your job today, but we are saying, is this the year, the best year of your life? Is this the year to begin to pay attention to what your soul is aching for? Right?
That's beautiful. That is really beautiful.
So what is your take on how this mechanism works? How does coming into alignment with what you feel that you are truly here to do, how does that affect your finances? I mean, I understand that it expands things,
Sure.
but what's that mechanism that relates that sense of purpose to financial opportunity?
Well, this might sound a little esoteric or a little woo-woo, but in my experience, when I finally discovered what it was for me, it really does feel like all of a sudden the universe aligns and says, yes, I'm saying yes to this. And we're going to support you in making this happen. And things begin to shift. I mean, it's almost comical how magical the experience can be when you are just on track and you start seeing all these opportunities open up and phone calls that come in and people that you meet that you weren't expecting. And you learn to say yes to these things. And all of a sudden, everything just starts becoming more abundant and yet more effortless. So I don't want to minimize that it's easy because it isn't. I mean, we have to be mindful and we have to do the work. You know, it's not just about sitting at home waiting for the universe to come knock on our door. We have to take action that's in alignment. We like to talk about taking audacious action, audacious steps that are out of the box. You know.
And can I add to that? A further answer to your question, if I may, is when you ask about the mechanism, the word that keeps coming to my mind, top of mind over and over again, is this beautiful practice of attention. Where is our attention? Is our attention on lack? Is our attention on scarcity? Is our attention on, I don't feel loved, I don't feel abundant? Or is our attention on, oh my God, I can't wait to see what shows up for me today. Oh my goodness, this universe is so abundant. It has 30,000 varieties of orchids. Hello. Like one more orchid, we would have been like, that's freaking amazing, right? But there's 30,000 varieties. I think that in and of itself is such a great indicator of what's available to us. So if there was one mechanism that I would ask your viewers to pay attention to, it's attention.
Yeah, a lot of times we tend to place our attention on what we don't want to happen. I don't want to get evicted. I don't want to bounce a check or whatever it is. So, those of us that have been in this kind of metaphysical space for a long time understand that what you place your attention on grows stronger in your life. So if we're placing our attention on what we don't want to happen, we're just making those experiences expand. Versus we can shift into the vision that we are holding for ourselves. So what we do want to happen. Yeah. And personally, I really believe that when we are being of service to the world, so the piece that's really important is what you're doing to create money, is it making the world a better place in some way? I really believe that when we're doing that, the universe rewards us.
I believe that as well. Yes, absolutely. And this is another myth because Joseph, you mentioned the orchids. So I think another myth is that prosperity and abundance is about accumulating money, but that's obviously not true. And I have these pine trees, and often I'll look out and I'll think about how many pine needles are on one pine tree in terms of, abundance and watching nature and things of that sort. So yeah, that's a huge myth. So can you talk about maybe a little bit about having an expanded view of what abundance actually means?
Sure. Can we do an exercise for your audience?
Sure.
So this is a writing exercise, and I'll just explain it now, and then we invite you to do it when you're finished watching this. And it's super simple, and it's called I Have Plenty. And it's a writing exercise. You might want to get a journal. You don't need to go buy something. I know you have an old journal sitting around somewhere, probably in your junk drawer, that says call mom on the first page. And just begin to pay attention, there's that word again, to everything you have plenty of. I have plenty of pine needles. I have plenty of socks. I have plenty of air to breathe. I have plenty of time. I have plenty of pens. And what happens after just a few minutes or even a few days when we are noticing all that we have plenty of, if our attention's over there, we don't have time to focus on what we don't have. We get to show up to all that we have plenty of. And that shift in consciousness can be life-changing for a lot of us. What do you want to add to that?
Well, what I want to add to that is that I had a big shift regarding money and abundance years and years ago when I asked myself this question. What do I know? What do I experience in my life that has absolutely zero fear of ever running out? Any zero fear of lack. What is so abundant in my life that is just effortless and it's always there? And the answer for me is love. I never think that I'm going to run out of love. I never think, I can only love 3% to this person because by the end of the month, I'm going to run out of it. I mean, love is this thing that is just constant, that just flows. And when I thought, well, if I am so familiar with what love is and it feels so abundant, can I just apply the energy of love to money, to my perception of money? Because money is just an energy, just like anything else. So if I have the parallel of love and money and it's just endless, I mean, there's billions and trillions of dollars in the world out there, right? So why can't it flow through me? So that really helped me a lot to be able to lose some of the fear of scarcity and be able to start seeing money as an endless resource. And the truth is, for me, I guess I've just been lucky enough, I suppose, but I have never really lacked anything in my life. So why would I bring fear now? So we are all, if we're all watching this, we're all survivors. We're all on this planet. We all survived COVID. We always somehow...
And thousands of other things that have come our way over our lifetime.
So we always somehow manage. But the thing is, how do we move from, if you happen to be in survival mode where you're just always just barely making it, how do you move from that, release that, and move into plenty?
And thriving.
And start thriving so that it feels like, you no longer have those money worries.
You had said before, like attracts like. And so bringing up the fact that talking about love and money as energy, I had a mentor one time that said, money doesn't want to go where it's not loved. But this is another myth in our culture, right? Like we're taught it's not okay to love money, right? Like somehow, there's all of these sayings, money's the root of all evil. And, people think that if they have a lot of money that somehow they're going to turn into a bad person, a greedy person, a selfish person. So what do you do to help people address some of those myths? Because I think some of those myths are exactly contributing to what you're talking about. If there's somebody stuck
And I
stuck
would
in this.
almost guarantee that a lot of the viewers of this particular audience, because I would imagine, are kind of all spiritually inclined or motivated, there might be a big belief system about, oh, it doesn't feel right to be spiritual and to have money, right? So there's this thing that it's either or. Like, the money that comes in, I'm going to just give it all away for all the causes I believe in and all that stuff. And I just want to ask you, if you think of a person that we all know fairly well in our lives, who's very highly spiritual, who's also extremely wealthy, Oprah Winfrey. So how does she balance it out? What does she do? She talk about a person who has found her calling, who is on her path to serve the planet. So what she does is she helps people become better. She helps people to, grow to their full potential. And she has made billions of dollars with all of her productions and everything that she does. So that belief of you can't be spiritual and be wealthy at the same time, out the window. The other thing I want to say is that, for a long time we did interior design, and we worked with very wealthy clients. And any belief I may have had about, very wealthy people are whatever, mean
stingy,
or
greedy,
or
superficial.
I have to tell you, we met the most wonderful, loving, generous, kind, very wealthy people who gave a lot of their money to causes they believed in. And that's the beautiful part of having wealth in your life, is that you can share that and improve the world through not only your service, but through your contributions financially. So all those beliefs I may have had. So imagine how we're working in our life with these little belief systems that are blocking our own path forward when we're not even aware of what they are. So if you're watching this, if you want to have some tools and strategies to figure it out, number one, examine what your beliefs about money are. Examine what your beliefs about wealth are. Just write a whole list.
And then ask yourself, is this helpful? Is this sustainable? How is this serving me? Right? And if not, then you want to talk about the antidote?
Antidote.
Yeah.
Well, first I want to talk about, ask yourself, is this true? Is this, like Byron Katie says, she has the 4 questions. Is this true? Is this absolutely true that I believe this? And can you find evidence to the contrary? Like I found evidence that wealthy people are generous and kind. So you start examining your beliefs and start looking at, this really isn't serving me. It's getting in my way. So Joseph was mentioning the antidote is a very simple technique that is so, so powerful. So if you can identify a thought that tends to recur in your life, such as,
there is never enough.
There's never enough money. The antidote is another sentence that helps you feel really peaceful when you say it. And it kind of diffuses the energy of that toxic thought. So what was the thought?
There is never enough money.
There is never enough. So you might want to come up with something like, I believe in my ability and there is plenty of money in my life for all of my needs. Something like that. And you just keep refining that next statement until it really feels truer for you than the other. And then you write it down and put it in front of your mirror, in front of your computer, in your car, on your phone screen. So that's the only way that you can start switching those belief systems in your mind. You can't get rid of them, but you can switch them by repetition.
I also like the antidote of, I have plenty of resources. It's super simple, really direct. And what it does is it gives me faith in myself. I wrote this gorgeous book called Trust with a capital T, a foreword by Deborah Poneman. And what I realized as I was writing it is that in the center of trust, Trust, is you. You are in the center of trust. And can we begin especially in the area around money, can we begin to trust ourselves and our resourcefulness and our abilities and our mental abilities, our spiritual abilities, all of that? I think sometimes until now, we get habituated into blaming and shaming, and I made mistakes, and the money flew through my fingers, and I'm completely da 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 da. Da. That becomes really scary for us, right?
And exhausting.
Exhausting. I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
Well, I love this phrase about, I use it a lot with clients and even with friends who might call on the phone when in the middle of some kind of crisis. And it's like, do your best not to contaminate the present with the past.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, it's and I think we do that. I mean, we do that in our lives, but I think particularly around money, it's very easy to do because it is so tied in this day and age. It's tied to our survival. We're not a hunter-gatherer society anymore, and so money has become this. We've sort of elevated its importance because it is tied to our survival.
Yeah.
What else can we do to help people shift from old money patterns to having some kind of habit and belief that is more productive?
The one that is most top of mind in this moment, and there are a lot, and please don't think that what we have done is the only way. You can find your own way. There's actually two things that I want to share. One is the power of our words, because our words create our reality. So if we are running around on this gorgeous earth saying, I don't have enough, there isn't enough, he has more than I have, and she does, blah, 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 that's what we're going to create, right? So the power of our words, paying attention, and can we use more powerful, empowering language?
And may I add something to that?
Yes, please.
Before you move forward.
Yes.
So if you do catch yourself having a disempowering, unproductive thought like that, our very simple solution to it, it's two little words that are so powerful. These two words have literally changed our life, and we're going to share them with you for $100. Send us $100. We'll tell you. No, the two words.
Until now.
Until now.
So anytime we say a phrase that is disempowering or is shame-based or just lacking in any way, shape, or form, such as, I never find any parking in the center of town.
Until now. I can never save any money. Until now. Money runs through my fingers. Until now. And what the beautiful thing about until now is that it doesn't judge you. It doesn't
keep us stuck in the past. It sends a very immediate message to the universe that in this moment, things could be different. That's gorgeous.
Yeah. And this is what I encourage you all to do. Have an until now buddy. So have an agreement that when they hear you say something self-limiting about anything, but especially around money, that they just say until now. Just so you can go, oh yeah, until now. Because I have the power to shift this. So I just said something automatically that I wasn't even aware of. But thanks to the reminder of until now, I can choose to think differently about it. I can change it. And the truth is that when we change our story, then we can change our life. And that is true for anything, but especially when it comes to abundance and money.
So 3 tools. One is pay attention to your words. Second one is until now. And the third one is something you might already be familiar with. I love, love, love. I teach this all the time whenever I get a chance. And that is success leaves clues. So you might already know this, but there are other people who have generated abundance in their lives. You know other people who have created prosperity on purpose. And guess what? They have written books. And they've recorded podcasts, and they've done millions of YouTube videos, and we get to tap into that success and learn from it. Versus what Eli was saying earlier is burying our head in the sand. What if this year, 2025, I'm already getting chills about this, we could metaphorically take our head out of the sand, look around, and pay attention, there's that word again, to what other people have done. And their generosity of sharing podcasts and YouTube videos and writing books so that we don't have to suffer anymore.
There is so much information in this day and age that is so easy to find. The thing is, and especially when it comes to shifting our reality with money, it does take a little bit of time. It doesn't happen overnight. So please be patient, but it does take diligence. It does take the awareness of, oh, this is how I've been functioning. And this is how I'd like to shift. Yeah. Like, for example, one of the things that we talk a lot about is raising your vibration. So when you are raising your vibration, you attract different things. So if you're in a vibration of complaining, gossiping, everything never works for you, blah, 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 that's 110 vibration. It's like the character in Peanuts, I forget his name, was it Linus? That has a little,
I'm not sure.
Has the cloud following him everywhere he goes.
Oh, Pigpen.
Pigpen. Yeah, it's like, I'm sure we all know people in our lives that happens.
Or have been that person in our lives, right?
They tend to attract a lot of chaos and everything. How do you get out of that? By the things we're talking about. Be aware of your languaging, be aware of what you're thinking, and be able to consciously shift out of those things. A very easy thing to do when it comes to raising your vibration around abundance that we used to love doing, and we still do it actually, we still do it, is go to the most posh hotel or venue where you live and take your journal or your computer and dress up, to the nines.
Not without, you don't need to buy anything. I know you have some nice clothes already in your closet.
Please do not go out and buy anything, but dress up, take your computer or your journal and sit in the lobby of this posh hotel and order a coffee or something and get comfortable being around that kind of wealth. So you might feel really uncomfortable at first, and then just go again and go again till that becomes like your second office. And you're there, you get your coffee, you do your work, especially maybe when you're writing your bills, do it from a place that feels abundant and wealthy. So that's one way to start shifting and your energy and raising your vibe regarding money. So, and treat it like a game. It's like, ooh, I'm going to sneak into this hotel or this restaurant or whatever.
Do you know what we haven't talked about? This incredible practice that most of us are already doing, but maybe after watching this episode, you will have a more robust gratitude practice.
Yes.
Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. You will already know this, but there's always, 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 always something to be grateful for. And the story that I like to tell is, imagine that you are giving out candy for Halloween. And a lot of kids come to your door and you're giving out candy and they say, oh, thanks. And they run away because they need more. They want more. They think they need more. But maybe there's that one little girl who lags behind. She stays behind for a minute and she connects with your eyes and she says, I love this candy. Thank you so much. I appreciate this so dearly and deeply. That's how the universe is waiting for us to show up to all the abundance that we've been given. Right?
Wait. You forgot to say something. If the little girl says that, then the person giving the candy says, well, let me give you some more.
Let me give you some more. But for most of us, we're just running away, running to the next thing, saying, what about more and more and more? But for those of us who can pause and can say, I love this so much. I am so grateful. That's when the universe is like, here's more.
Gratitude is so powerful. Talk about one way to raise your vibration. I mean, besides love, gratitude is the next high energy. Yeah, we have a gratitude practice every single night when we go to sleep.
You can do this whether you're partnered or single. Go ahead.
We just tell each other, tell me 7 things you're grateful for that happened today. And we just tell each other something that happened. So it helps us to go through our day, be conscious about what happened, and what are we grateful for that happened. Besides, we usually say this moment, but besides that. And it's such a beautiful, wonderful way to go to bed, go to sleep.
And this is not new. I mean, Bing Crosby back in the 50s, he recorded, count your blessings instead of sheep, right? And when
Yeah.
I say that we can do this even as a single person, as you're falling asleep, you can bring to mind 7 things, 7 moments, 7 seconds of the day that you just lived that you are grateful for. And then go to sleep with that kind of vibration. That's life changing, right?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I have a similar
You can
practice.
tell. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes,
Can you tell us
absolutely.
about yours?
I usually do mine in the morning, but I
Mhm.
make it a sort of a rule that before my feet hit the floor, I lay there and I go through a list of gratitudes, everything I'm
Mm,
grateful for. Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Someone taught me this once, and I haven't done it religiously, but they say whenever your one foot touches the ground, say thank, and when the second foot hits the ground, say you. Right? Like as soon as that very second that you are hitting the ground, say thank you.
Absolutely. The most important prayer, they say, is
How
thank
else
you.
can we serve your viewers today?
Well, we're coming to the end of our time together, so I'm gonna
What?
open it up to you. So as we finish up our time together, what is it that you want to leave the audience with as far as what they can do to have the best year of their life this year in 2025?
Oh,
I'll go. I'll go. I would say get mad.
Mm,
Just get mad.
what does that mean?
MAD stands for make a decision.
mm,
Make a decision, A, that this will absolutely be the best year of your life. Make a decision that you are not going to carry some of that old baggage, that old weight, those old disbeliefs with you into the new year. Right? Make a decision that you are worthy of this abundance. Make a decision that you can absolutely create prosperity on purpose. Make a decision that you will be patient with yourself. Just get mad over and over and over.
Wow.
You.
You can tell we're a little bit passionate about, about this topic. Where I'm like, wait, what? Our time is up? No, we can still keep talking. Well, the best year of your life. Wow. How can you create the best year of your life? Well, to me, a few years ago, actually in my 30s, I was really having an existential moment of angst because I couldn't figure out really why I was here. Like, why? What's my big purpose? Everybody talks about their purpose. Why am I here? What am I here? And I remember the moment because I was in a little outdoor cafe by myself having my coffee and the sun was shining. And all of a sudden, I got this thing that just went whoom. And I heard this voice. I call it my Oprah moment. And I heard this voice that said, "You are here to fully express who you came here to be." I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that." And then the voice said, no, 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 no. I don't think you heard me. I said, fully express who you came here to be. I went, okay, what is that? And that year, I remember everything shifting because this is the answer to your question about how to have the best year of your life. When you can fully express who you came here to be with all your natural gifts and talents and just, being,
Effervescent.
unashamed of who you are and just expressing everything, the level of joy is going to rise. Your vibration is going to rise. You're going to meet all kinds of new people. Opportunities are going to come. Your abundance will increase. So your relationships will improve. Your health will get better. You'll have more vitality. I mean, that is how to create the best year of your life every year, is by fully expressing who you came here to be and trusting that everything else will follow. Because when you say yes to you, the universe says yes to you. And it's a powerful, powerful way to live your life. And sometimes we get derailed. I got derailed and it took cancer for me 10 years ago to kick my ass and bring me right back to this path. I began to follow the path of got to make more money, got to make more money, got to make more money. And the rat race is just, is a disease called moritis. I want more. I want more.
Yeah.
I want more.
Yeah.
You know, and the symptoms of it is dissatisfaction,
shame and blame and
compare and despair, addiction to instant gratification. I mean, it's like the rat race is something, especially in the US, that we all have bought into. It doesn't need to be that. You can get out of the rat race and create your own reality that has more compassion and generosity towards yourself. When you're fully expressing who you came here to be, everything shifts. And that's how you can create the best year of your life, babies.
That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I would love to keep going too. Unfortunately, we are at the end, but if people want to keep going on this journey, how can they do that?
Thanks for asking. So
it's super simple. We have a website, eliandjoseph.com/money is the next money course that's coming up. It's online. You can do it from anywhere in the world.
That happens on February 22nd. And there's a lot of different ways that we can support you. If you don't really know what your fully is, that's what we're really good. That's part of what our zone of genius is helping people identify what their full expression can be and how that shows up in the world. So we're happy to help you with that. And hopefully we'll meet you through our money program and you will have shifts. We can guarantee that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. And I know everybody is just going to love this and rewatch this video over and over again.
Thank you so much. It was delightful being with you. Thanks so much for having us.